doesn't even make any sense. It used to be one man having a
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Y'all doing lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, today is a lovely day,
It is.
so we have a lot to be thankful for. And the first train I want to bring up is somebody that I really admire and respect. So it's my honor and privilege to bring up, this next individual because he's just a ball of energy and excitement. When anytime you're around somebody that has that characteristic, it becomes infectious, contagious. It motivates you. So just stand to your feet. Welcome, Senior Director Charlie.
All right. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
What's going on out loud world? All right, been watching some of the politicians talk back and forth, and it was a lot of fun because this last time they're talking about the Republicans. We're not going for Republicans or Democrats this morning, but Mitt Romney made a comment that 40% of Americans are acting like victims, and the Democrats are jumping all over them as if there's something wrong with that. Kind of funny when a comment like that's made because it takes me back to shopping with my wife. It's not so much what my wife says because my wife appreciates honesty, right? When she puts something on, I'll look at her. It looks amazing, like, wow, you look great. And if it doesn't, I just go, honey, that does nothing for your figure, right? And a comment like that, when you make 40% of Americans are acting like victims, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not agreeing. Matter of fact, I kind of do err on the side of agree. But when I make a comment like that, when I'm out shopping with my wife, other people make comments as well. Like, oh, I can't believe you said that to your wife. I can't believe you said that. And then, one time I had to turn and go, like, you can't believe what? It's like that when she goes home, she'll actually wear the outfit that she bought because she does feel that she looks good in the outfit, or she does look good in the outfit. Because what if she looks like a balloon in an outfit and she goes out and I didn't tell her? Well, I get in trouble then. I might as well get in trouble now. It's kind of one of those double-edged swords, right? Right? But 40% of Americans supposedly are acting like victims, right? Right? And this morning, I want to talk about living out your potential. Okay? I said there, reclaiming your potential. Why is it that I'm saying reclaiming your potential? Because your potential is already there. Right now, whether or not, you admit it, you're living off of somebody else's expectation in some way, shape, or form. It might be the future you's expectation, but it's somebody else's expectation, okay? And you limit yourself based upon how much money it comes with. I hear the average income is like what these days? About 30, 28. It's kind of going down, inflation, all that, the value of money and all that. It's like, just think about that real quick, all right? If the choices you have is based upon how much income, how much money is coming in, right? And then you cap yourself at a certain dollar amount, are you not limiting your choices? Are you not limiting your own potential? Right? From the clothes you wear, the cars you drive, how you take care of your family, how you choose all those things. You go, I'm doing the best with what I have. I hear that a lot as well. Is that truly the best you can do? There's a big difference between the best you can have and the best you can do. So I'm going to draw this up this morning because we're going to hit this back a lot. Let's just go like this. And we'll call this the finish line. Everybody read that? With my bubbly letters and all that. All right. Let's go back and forth in this. So this morning, I really want you to think about that. I really want you to think about the dollar amount that you have inside your head. And if you don't have it, I want you to figure out why you don't or why you do have that number. To figure out if that's a number, that's a lifestyle that you are giving yourself, or is it something, another expectation that somebody put on you? Okay? Because this is what I mean. A lot of people are excited, right? You can follow Chow and spend a lot of time with Chow Time, right? Right? You spend a lot of time with me and be excited about what's going on. But I'm going after taking really good care of 10 kids, raising 10 beautiful adults that's doing great things, right? You might not want to change diapers for 10 kids. You might not want to deal with 10 teenagers. When you get there, you're like, oh, wow, this is not what I wanted, this is great. He's building this whole dream. I'm excited. I want to be around him. Like, we're going to be along for this ride for a while. We'll be friends probably for a lifetime. But however, the things I do in my life might be completely different from what you want, right? The car that I want might be completely different than the car you want. Sitting in my car all the time might not make you that happy because it's my car, okay? Being tested. They crash cars like you wouldn't believe all the time, all the time. They call this a destructive test, right? To see what this car is made of. And what I hear, right, is that, oh, you should buy this car because it can withstand this, all these safety features and all that, right? Which is a good thing because you want to keep your family safe. I want to flip that real quick, all right? Because I hear this a lot as well. Okay? I've been through all of these things, right? I want you to hear me this morning. I want you to hear me this morning, all right? I've been through all of these things, okay? If you want to go 0 and say this is 100% or however you want to put it, all right? I've been through all these things. That's why I can only do that much. I've been through all these things. I've been crashed, tested so many times, you know? That's why I can only make it there. Let me tell you something about yourself. There's a difference between a crash test, which is a destructive test, and a performance test, all right? We buy cars for their safety features, but we also buy cars for how they perform. Vroom, vroom, right? How it takes those corners when it needs to. A crash test. Think about our lives real quick and think about the people around you. If you're constantly hearing that I've been through all these things, that's why I can only make it there. Why is that? Right? Appreciate those stories. The performance side is that you made it through, right? We know that everybody in this room can make it through all that because we know our Maker made us to withstand a whole lot and then to rebuild ourselves. But the side that we're forgetting is the performance side. We haven't put ourselves through the performance test yet, right? Too many times, too many business owners, right, are on idle. They're not going through the performance test. And they act as though they're pushed over a hill and they're just rolling aimlessly down this hill, right? They're waiting to crash, not even understanding their action, how it affects people around them. And I want you to think about that real quick. If you don't have the people around you that you want, take notice of that. How are you performing? Are you performing crash tests in your life constantly and destroying what you're capable of, or are you working on the performance side? And with that being said, you don't even need to be concerned about, really, all that crash. You can hit in the front, the side, and everything. We have airbags. Listen and learn. I've had 2 great moms in my life, right? I have a godmother that's 3. But I'll talk about my mom, and I'll talk about my wife's mom. They're both extremely hard workers, okay? That's how it's called. The author is unknown. A man's work is from sun up to sundown, but a mother's work is never done. And now that I'm a father, I appreciate my mother that much more, okay? But my mom, the 2 moms, my mom and my wife's mom, are so different. They are so incredibly different. They are very hardworking, but my mother is a hard woman, okay? She's nice. She's nice, and then if you feed her after midnight, she becomes this gremlin, right? She's all over you. She's also all over you. Like, growing up, it was do this or else these chopsticks come out, right? And it's like the oldest chopstick. It's like the first chopsticks ever made. And it's like this big, and then you're about this big. And then it's the old ones where it has splinters and everything. It's not nice like today where it's all smooth when you eat. Where if you get smacked, then kind of splinters stay in your butt, and then you remember, right? But this is the thing, is that growing up, I never really could understand. But then now that I look back, and I learned, and I'm just now learning the lessons even more, is that my mom was a hard woman for a reason. you know. Her husband wasn't always around. My dad wasn't always around. My dad was an alcoholic, right? He's a much better man today, but at the time he was an alcoholic. So she taught me to be very much independent. What she had to go through in order to raise her kids, because she didn't imagine it to be that way, all right? But then she had to learn to say, all right, the plan isn't always going to go the way you plan. So you have to be not one, independent, two, work through what you're going through. And she continued that all the way to now. You know, she has a very good person in her life. And then we recently had a conversation where she goes, hey, Chow. He's like, what's that? He goes, do you know how easy you have it? That you have a supportive spouse? Right? I was like, really? I was like, yeah, I know that, Mom. But at the same time, I look back at her, I go, do you realize that you have a supportive spouse as well? That loves you with every cell in his body. It's like, you need to recognize that now, because at that time, right, you learn these lessons and you go through, but the expectation of having somebody in your life that is supportive wasn't always in her mind, so she couldn't always be happy with that. And I'm gonna challenge everybody in here to do the same thing, right? We've gone through all these crash tests, all right? We've gone through all these crash tests, and we've gone through all these different relationships in our lives, and we carry this expectation that in the future, these things are going to be the same way, and we're not opening ourselves up to be fulfilled in our lives and truly happy. And you must be thinking, like, oh man, what in the world is Chow talking about this morning? We're in a business, right? We're in a business. What I'm talking about is balance here. What I'm talking about is balance, because these things are going to help you build relationships and maintain relationships so that you can build your business, right? If you want to attract the people that you want, you have to be that person. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. All right. My other mom, Laura's mom, very much the same, hardworking, completely different. I grew up in a way where I had to be very much independent, learn how to do things on my own, you know, and when things don't go according to plan, solve that problem. I'm not used to having assistance all the time. I'm not used to having someone truly serve me. My mother, Laura's mom, will look at you, and you could have a whole gallon of water. She'll still look at you. Are you thirsty? Can I get you some water? Can I get you some water? And you could have had like a whole Thanksgiving meal, and she'll ask, are you hungry? Can I get you something to eat? Right? And you could go, you know what? My hands are dirty. She's the first one in the kitchen to grab a towel for you to wipe your hands. I'm not used to that. You know, in the beginning, it drove me crazy. Recently, we had a conversation, you know, we're talking about, okay, you know what, Mom, Dad, you're getting older, you know. In my culture, you know, you might not be accustomed to this, but in my culture, our parents live with us, okay? Like right now, I understand you're independent, you're doing your thing, and you're used to taking care of yourself. But one day, you know, when you're ready, I want you to know that I'm open, Laura's open to you living with us, right? And she looked at me and she goes, wouldn't that drive you crazy? I was like, yes, Mom. It will. It will. But that's my problem. I love you. And I told her how much of a wonderful person I thought that she was. Because I'm not used to expressing those things that I figured would just go, no, right? They'll understand those things. So then looking at that, what about the people that's in your life right now? The people that you're working with? Who's going above and beyond constantly? And then it kind of drives you crazy, because being business owners, right? Especially if you're shifting from small business to big business, you're constantly delegating. You become a master at delegating, right? In small business, you're constantly used to taking care of things yourself. That's where my mentality comes from, right? Back in the day, it was always like that with my mom. It was like, be independent, take care of yourself, right? And then you have to let go a little bit of those responsibilities and let those become masters at those responsibilities themselves, right? So they can live with you and not drive you crazy. But it's not them, right? It's about us. How are we loving other people around us? Two moms. Where's your flow? Where's your flow? really neat thing about water is that what we see, it's like, I want to write this out so you see this, all right? It's about, right? It's about 0.3%. So it's a third of 1% of the fresh water that we see on this earth. Rivers, lakes, in the atmosphere that even we can't see, about 0.3%. It's a whole system that's created. It moves everywhere, right? 0.3% is what we see. Money is a lot like water. It isn't lazy, right? It means like 99.7% of water is constantly moving in the system. It's constantly moving in the system. It's the exact same thing as the currency that we see, the cash in your pocket, right? It's in businesses, constantly. Now, thing is, where is your flow? Where is it flowing at the moment? Is it flowing towards you? Or is it flowing away from you? Because water has this unique characteristic to it, right? Larger bodies of water will attract more water, right? And just because we see a whole bunch of puddles everywhere doesn't mean that it's effective, because eventually it's all going to evaporate and go back into the big body of water anyways. There's a lot with the money, right? There's a lot of little monies dispersed everywhere. You hear Antonio Lockett talking about it each week, on Tuesday, where he says 95%, of the wealth lays with 5%, right? And it's sitting in the oceans. We look at the ocean, and the ocean's there all the time. It's like, but that's not the fresh water. Water you can drink, right? Talking about the other water, the fresh water that's flowing in the groundwater, big old thing, icebergs and stuff, just sitting there. But where's the flow in your life, right? And are you ready to receive it? Because if the Lord is good at something, He's great at putting together systems, right? If I didn't convey this properly the other weeks, when I said, when you ask for $100 million, right? The Lord's going to bless you like $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because He's going to say, here's a system. Now I'm going to tie all this together. Why is it so important with all these relationships and everything? Because if it's me, self-employed, small business mindset, you're going to miss out on the system, the pieces of your system that the Lord is saying, you need this in order to make this work, right? And then once all the system's there, you got to turn it on and then move in order to make it work. Right. Think about that real quick. Okay? So you asked for $100 million. I don't want to lose anybody here. All right? It's $100 million. You asked for $100 million. So the system, when I say it needs to make, it's an arbitrary number, by the way. It's just a lot more. Okay? Like 10 times more. $1 billion, so that, all right, this is for you. All right? So this is the system. That's a part of it. It just kicks out the $100 million for you, but also kicks out another $900 million. $900 million. So if you're $100 million, there's another 9 of you somewhere that's also asking for $100 million, or 900 of people asking for less, right? But then that's where I come back to the beginning. Where's that number? Where's that number for you, and how big is that system? So as you run down that road, are things flowing to you because you're asking for it right now, but you're not ready to receive it yet, right? Some of us right now are asking for $100 million. $100 million, right? But we're being built every single day in order to be prepared to receive it, okay? I can't hand you 300 pounds of weight today, right? But I can hand you 5. Let's practice lifting 5, right? Let's practice lifting $5,000. Let's practice lifting $20,000, then $100,000, then $1 million, right? Because water doesn't like to stay stagnant. Money doesn't like to stay stagnant. It likes to join others and increase, right? So if it flows into you and it's stuck, it's stuck. Now, what do you mean I'm not ready to receive it? If I gave you right now, today, $100 million, can it flow through you, or will it completely steamroll you over? Think about that real quick. Can you even imagine $100 million? Can you see the lifestyle you can live with $100 million? $100 million just doesn't go away. It's much harder to lose $100 million than it is to lose $1 million. I'll tell you that much. Right. right? Because the assets that it acquires, and it constantly grows. It grows. It constantly grows and attracts more and more and more and more and more money. All right. So it's how are you performing with that, and are you ready to perform at that level when you get there? So some of us go, man, how come I'm not getting that $1 million? How come I'm not getting that $100,000? Then I ask you, how are you doing with your $10,000? Is that multiplying? Is it $10,000 multiplying? Is it flowing through you, going back out, and then coming right back to you? You know, it's that consistency. You'll see that constantly with money. Time and direction. Everybody remember this? Erase all this. Actually, erase the thing right. All right. I want some quiet this morning. Just smile at me real quick so I know you're alive. Just smile. There you go. There you go. All right. Time and direction. Every goal has a timeline. Every goal has a deadline of when you want to meet that goal, right? Okay. Because on Tuesday I said something that kind of went over it seemed like went over everybody's head, either that or they just wasn't understanding what I was saying. Where'd everyone comes from? Maybe the same thing, right? When you cross that finish line, how do you look? Right? When you cross that finish line, how do you look? I want you to think about that pretty hard, right? Because there's a timeline to when you're going to pass that finish line, right? When I said, you know, too many people say, I've been through all these things in my life and I can only get there. It doesn't make sense to me, okay? It doesn't make sense to me. If you're a slow learner, start studying more. If you're just slow, start earlier, okay? It doesn't make sense to me.
That's right.
You right? Okay? I make the joke, but you laugh because it's true. I can't reach the top shelf. It takes me a little longer to put things on the top shelf. So I start allocating more time for that. I need to make one more extra step than you do to go there. Most people just go like this and go like this. I need to step on a step stool, get in the top. I also got one of these contraptions. Works great. You clamp it like this, goes like this, you put it on the top shelf. I was like, wow, I'm impressed. This is how tall people feel, right? Right? You do that, you just start sooner. That's why I don't get it when you say, I've been through all these things and go that way. Because and you look at the person next to you and, man, they're so good at that. Yeah, but they're good at that. What are you good at? Right? You're going to excel in that area much more than that person that's good at that, but only good at that. Right? Everybody's good at something. Right? So I don't understand this. Let's just eliminate this altogether real quick and say that everybody can cross the finish line because you can. Can we all accept that? Everybody can cross the finish line? Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're on the same page then. Time and direction. Okay. When I said there are things you do and there are things you don't do when you know where the finish line is and what your lifestyle looks like. Okay? We're in a business where we market my financial worth. My financial worth. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm worth. Okay? This is what I'm worth. Right? Not only today, but this is what I'm worth 5 years from now or 10 years from now. That's why I'm asking, can you see the finish line? Because the finish line is when you're dead. Really, it's when you're dead. All right? But then along the way, there are toll markers, right? You pass up and say, okay, I'm kind of on the right path, exactly where I want to go. Because your work is really never finished, especially when you have kids. Like, kind of keep going, right? Okay? Mom's out there to test that. Dad's out there to test that, right? So where is that finish line? What are those goals? What is your lifestyle looking like 5 years from now, right? Hopefully your lifestyle and your life, 10 years from now looks even better. 15 years from now looks even better, right? 20 years from now looks even better, right? So there are things you do in order to get there. One of my mentors gave me an incredible just illustration that was just very simple, right? He goes, "Child, who are you 5 years from now?" I'm like, okay. It's like, go down this whole list. He goes, all right, so you know that, right? Right. He goes, what do you do in a day? He goes, well, then I blow up. Well, I wake up and I go, and I wake up, I brush my teeth. He goes, in detail, child, in detail. It's like, well, okay, so I open my eyes, I turn off the alarm clock, I put on some clothes. It gets kind of cold in the wintertime. And he goes, okay, you made my point. All right, those things you do when you wake up and turn off the alarm clock, you know, you go, you brush your teeth, take a shower, all those are little pebbles. Those are little pebbles, right? The things each year, like each day that you do to achieve that 5-year goal of yours, big old boulders. All right, now I want you to separate those tasks, all right? The thing is, most people take their container, they're 24 hours a day, and they take those pebbles, and they keep throwing them there. It's busy work, right? They keep throwing all this. That's why people say they're busy, right? Throw all these pebbles into a container, and then by the time they get to their boulders, where it goes, this is what I want to be in 5 years, there's no more room for the boulders. He goes, why don't you just dump all those little trivial stuff out? You know, what if you woke up and you didn't even have time, right? Which is a good thing. You didn't have time to shut off your alarm clock. You didn't have time to brush your teeth. You didn't have time to shower. You didn't have time to do all those things. But all those boulders, boom, went in there, right? First, right? And you stop that way. These are the things I'm going to do first, right? The thing with boulders and a container, and he drew it out. And I'm like, well, what about all the little things? I'll brush my teeth, my wife won't kiss me, girl, all the little things. The time was good, my girlfriend won't kiss me, don't shower, business people won't even sit next to me. He goes, yeah, those are little details, child. Look at what happens, right? You fill it with pebbles, you don't have enough space. You fill it with boulders, you not only get closer to the you that you want, but after that, just dumping all the pebbles. You somehow always find room to fit. For that illustration, do I need to say anything more about pebbles and boulders? Idle, finish line, destructive tests, and performance tests. Does everybody get it? Right? If you know what the finish line looks like, you will no longer be busy throwing little pebbles into your container.
Right.
You will spend all your might figuring out how to lift those boulders, building yourself to where you can go, wow, boom, show up in 5 years and just look fit in every area of your life. I'm telling you right now, I can wash clothes with my abs. Woo! Yeah. You know, I worked hard. I was like, oh, babies, you have no time to sleep and all that. Worked it out. I'm telling you right now, my waist is 26 inches. 26 inches. I've never had a waist that small in my life. Probably when I was born, got that point and passed it up real quick, right? The thing is that oh man, I don't like doing sit-ups, right? I don't like doing sit-ups. Don't like it at all. But the thing is when I go to sit-ups, I'm a loud person in the gym. If you work out with me, I'm like, oh, come on, push it, come on. You know, I do that, right? It's not so much the abs or anything like that. It's like anything else in your life. You gotta beat those demons out of your mind that constantly say, oh, you should stop. That's tough. You know, what's the point of doing all of this anyways? Just beat them out and do that, all right? But you have to know what you're going to look like. The next person, and the reason why I used the $100 million illustration, because I like running around with people that have those similar goals. The $100 million man, all right? And his site built on that, right? And he works out all the time on that goal, in each area of his life, right? But especially in this business, right? I want to learn how to wash my clothes on the JMG abs this man has built, all right? He works it out. Whatever demon goes in there, just casting it out, and constantly works. I want to learn how to do that, you know? And when people like that are in the same business you are and that are running, you really should listen. You really should listen. And then at the same time, keep focused on who it is that you're going to be, so you go, okay, this is the vehicle. This is how I'm doing it. You know, I'm going to drive this vehicle. This is how you should drive this vehicle in order to get there with this. Okay? I don't really need to introduce him. The man introduces himself, really, when he walks up here. But anyways, I will anyway. He's the first of everything, all right? He's the first of everything in this company. You know, And I laugh about that because it's a celebratory laugh. He is the first of everything inside of this company, right? So when he has the first of everything, he's kind of looking back and he's going, okay, these are the things I did. And he's kind of putting together a manual, and saying, here's how I did it, right? So you can tweak it all you want, but you got to do at least that in order to be second in all those things. You already did those things first. So I want you to listen, take great notes. Everybody welcome, Brother William Locke.
Everybody give it up to Kyle Lake. See, I understand why everybody was so quiet, because he was dropping that knowledge. Gives you a lot to think about. Every time I hear him speak, it encourages me, and also I learn. Looking at this. First of all, I want everybody to say, I am a business owner.
I am a business owner.
And when he was talking about this, and he erased this blockage right here, you have to realize our mindset is that we say, why can't everybody finish? Not to come up with an excuse or a barrier why people don't. We don't understand. That's our mindset, why everybody can't finish. Because we don't see ourselves as anything out of the ordinary. So we know if we can make it to the finish line, then we believe that everybody else can make it to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
The only blockage that is there is what people place themselves. But it is possible that everybody can cross the line. It's a matter of how you see it. And I see this, the difference of being a business-minded individual versus an employee-minded individual. An employee-minded individual is always putting little pebbles, saying that they're busy, but not getting any closer towards their goals and dreams. An entrepreneur-minded individual saying, this is my goal, this is my vision, these are my dreams, and so I'm going to work expeditiously in order to achieve it. And so that brings me to what I want to talk about this morning. What is your goal?
Mm-hmm.
What is your goal? I had everybody say, I am a business owner. Do you realize by you just saying you are a business owner doesn't make you a business owner?
Mm-hmm.
It's not your words that make you a business owner. It's your actions that make you a business owner. What are your actions saying? See, it's easy to say with your mouth, but then you have to put some work behind it in order to make that a reality. Other than that, it's just words. So I want everybody to write down, what is your goal? So everybody make sure you got a pen and pad and take some good notes, because I'm going to have you doing some writing this morning. Goal setting is the true secret to success in any area of life. But although setting the goal may seem simple, achieving it is usually another question altogether. Why is that? See, Charles said that, it's my mindset that gets me going. It's my thought process. It's my unrelenting thought that is possible. So therefore, I don't see the obstacles. Any obstacle that try to present itself to me is nothing but an opportunity. It's an opportunity for me to get stronger, better. I may stumble, but I won't quit. So therefore, it becomes a learning opportunity where I can learn what not to do, because I'm always moving forward in life. I won't allow anyone to discourage me or deter me from my goals and dreams. See, I understand that we only have a short period of time on this planet.
Right.
And if my goal is to leave a legacy, and I won't even allow relationships to deter me, because they come and go. But my children are dependent on me.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I won't allow whether mother, father, wife, significant other, girlfriend to distract me, because I understand that I'm working on something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on something that they may not understand. Now, I still love them, but I can't stop. Because my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren are dependent on me to do something now. So therefore, I have to stay focused and committed. So I'm always moving forward, regardless of what it may feel like, seem like. I'm always focused on that goal. I don't care what my bank account may look like. I still was walking through $1 million homes.
Mm-hmm.
I still was going to the Bentley car dealership, smelling a new car and test driving a new car. Still going to Parade of Homes. Why? Because I don't allow my temporary or my present condition to dictate or determine my future. Now what? I live in $1 million home,
Mm-hmm.
drive nice cars, live a very comfortable lifestyle because I'm always focused on the goal, which means that because I'm focused and I'm doing some work, God honors that. The universe honors that and respects that. See, if I just sit back and say I'm a business owner, I don't do the work necessary in order to become a business owner, guess what? I don't go nowhere because it's just idle chit chat. But when you have a goal and a focus and you actually doing some work, whether big or small, but you're constantly moving forward, then things begin to respond to your actions, your activity. But when you remain idle and you don't move, you're not getting any closer towards your finish line. You may have put that blockade right here because of the first sign of struggle. See, I don't allow those struggles to stop me or define me. I allow them to become stepping stones to make me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will never achieve your goals unless you, one, know exactly what you want. So again, what do you want? Are you passionate about your goal? See, when I talk about leaving a legacy, you can feel my passion. You can feel the commitment. And I go extreme in saying that the relationships don't stop me. You may have thought like, wow, that seemed kind of cold.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I understand that when I was given the opportunity of life, I can't fault nobody but the person looking back in the mirror. I can't say that I wasn't raised in the right family or the right environment. I can't blame it on the fact that, you know, my parents didn't go to college and they didn't leave me any money. I can't blame it on the fact that I'm black. I can't blame it on the fact of all of these other circumstances. Because at the end of this lifetime, the one that I'm holding accountable is the one looking back in the mirror. So therefore, I still love them, but I understand I got some work to do. And I will never allow myself to be part of that 47% and have a victim mentality. So I'm not waiting on the government to do something for me. That's what I've been talking about lately. Be your own White House.
Right, teach, brother.
Your own government.
Yeah.
You don't need no bailout. You have the gifts and the talents within yourselves right now in order to create your own stimulus package. But the question remains, are you staying idle? And if you got some blockade put in place that you only see yourself going to a certain level.
Right.
See, we're here to remove all the stops. See, we're here to tell you that it's possible. We're here to encourage you, to tell you that you was created to cross the finish line. The question is, do you see yourself crossing that finish line? And you have to determine what that finish line is. Only thing I say is don't make it right here. Don't make your finish line right here because you can see this.
Mm-hmm.
Your finish line has to be something that you can see, something that's greater than what you're able to do right now because you're not dead. You woke up this morning. There's more in you. Life is a process and a progression to get better, to go towards something. So if you make it something that you can do within a year, then that's just a temporary, short-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
What is your long-term goal? And your long-term goal, I would say, is along the lines of what Child was saying. That if you're looking for 100 million, it's going to require $1 billion to create it.
Mm-hmm.
Because your long-term goal is tied to other people as well. God's just not going to bless you just for yourself. He's going to bless you so that you can be a blessing to other people. He just wants to know that he can trust you to be the conduit. So that when he sends that billion through you, and you're looking for 100, that you don't get greedy and you stop doing the things that was necessary in order for you to create it.
Teach.
Number 3, have a solid, realistic plan of action. That's what makes the difference between numerous dreams and wishes and truly achievable goals. So what is your plan of action? Every day you have to be doing something to get closer towards your goals and dreams. You never wake up in the morning with the mindset and attitude, it's just another day. See, I wake up every day realizing that today is one day closer towards my goals and dreams. So, Lord, what is it that you have me to do today? See, that's why I'm a sower. That's why I'm a giver. And it's not always about financial giving. It's about giving of self. It's about sowing, of self. Sowing of your time, your conversation, encouraging somebody. So therefore, I walk around under a sky of constant expectation. I'm constantly expecting to receive. So therefore, it's a different attitude. It's an attitude of gratitude. Lord, I thank you that you allowed me to see this day. And I thank you that I know that you created this day with a good end in mind. So therefore, my steps are already ordered by you. Many obstacles and challenges will fly right in your face when you're going after a goal. Here are 5 time-tested methods that will help you to get success that you desire. Number 1, know exactly what your goal is. Your first job is to discover exactly what your goal is. What will achieving that goal really look like? What would it feel like? What would it smell like? What would it taste like? Be as specific as possible about exactly what your desired end result is. See, if you don't know what the target is, if you don't define what it is, then anything that comes along may look like, sound like success, but it's not the true success that you're seeking after.
That's right.
So then what happens? Then you don't have that fulfillment. You don't have that satisfaction. The word of God says that you're clothed, but you're still cold. You got food, but you're still hungry.
Right, teach.
So therefore, know what it is that you want, so that when you get it, you understand and you know that you have it. Your success will be a measure of your clarity. Since an achievable goal plan cannot be created around a nucleus dream, you must understand and know what that dream and that goal is. So everybody write down their goal. If your goal is to create a more successful business, what would that look like? Are you thinking in terms of simply hiring someone else to give you more free time? Are you looking for a very specific monthly profit? Or can your goal be best expressed in terms of a certain lifestyle? See, it's not that money is the end-all, be-all. It's the lifestyle that money can create. So since we operate in this country, we have to function within the restrictions or the confines of this country, right? So this country economy is based on currency, right?
That's right.
So I can't go to my bill collectors with some fuzzy feely type of conversation. They said, we hear you, but you know what? You better pay your gas bill or you're going to be cold in the winter.
Right, especially now.
You better pay your rent or your mortgage or you're going to be homeless. So therefore, it's the lifestyle that the money can produce. So since I have a big goal and dream, and I want a wonderful, comfortable lifestyle, therefore I have to create the money in order to support that goal and dream. And if not, what happens? Frustration. You heard on the news about the gentleman that went into his job in North Minneapolis and shot up the place and killed 5 people because he got laid off from his job. That's frustration. That was stress because his income was cut and he didn't know how to deal with it. There's a lot of people that are stressed out in this world because of finances. That's why we're here together as a team, because we know that we have a solution that is doable. We know we have an opportunity that is, duplicatable.
Right.
So therefore, as leaders in this company, we have a passion because we demonstrated success in various areas. Child's finance, Paulie's in this industry, mine's in traditional business. Therefore, we have a passion to help other people say, you know what? We express or we experience success in certain areas. We have a vehicle that we understand that is a jet that can get us there quicker. And so what we want to do is work together so that you can cross your finish line sooner than later. Okay? So therefore, we combined our gifts and talents in order to help educate you, to help you to understand that you are created for greatness, that you do have greatness in you. And that's not to hype you up. That's to tell you that we're no different. Because we could be out on the golf course. We could be out spending time with our families. But we're sowing.
Mm-hmm.
We're sowing. Why? Because we have an expectation. See, we understand that we want to create generational wealth. And the vehicle that God has given us, the gift that God has given us to create that generational wealth is going to create
Right.
$1 billion company so that we can get our hundreds of millions and in the process create other 100 millionaires and
There you go.
millionaires.
Multiply that.
So again, it's because we have a bigger goal and dream that God will be able to trust this vehicle because our passion is truly to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So we want you to be successful. That's why we're sacrificing and sowing now.
Mm-hmm.
We're sacrificing and sowing into you because we know that you were created to finish and cross this finish line. So we're going to sacrifice and sow and pour into you because we want you to be blessed. Because your blessing is tied to our blessing. So it's not a selfish mindset. It's a giving spirit. Y'all get that?
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of what you want, the best way to get it is to first clarify exactly what you want in as much detail as possible. This can be hard work, but without a clear mental picture, you'll never have the focus required to achieve your goal. See, I know what I want. So if it don't look like, feel like, smell like,
Mm-hmm.
taste like, I won't accept it
That's right.
because I know exactly what I want. So I won't settle for less. See, I know I was created for greater.
Mm-hmm.
See, I know that I'm made in the likeness and the image of God. So therefore, I'll never downsize my golden dream based upon my temporary circumstances.
Teach.
So therefore, I'm always looking with an eternal mindset to understand that my Father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills.
Mm.
To understand that I'm a son of the King. So therefore, I have entitlement.
Yes, sir.
So when you know that you have entitlement, you won't settle with sleeping with the pig. You'll come to yourself and understand, hey, even if I live like the servants in my Father's house,
Yeah.
I'll still be better off than this.
You'll kill a petty cow.
But your Father is always there with open arms to receive you. And when you know that you're a son of the King,
That's right.
then you won't live like a pauper. So I don't care where you at right now. There's no disgrace in that. What you need to do is just pick yourself up and continue to do some activity every day as a business owner rather than an employee mindset individual. You may not have the success that you see us experiencing right now, but understand, this is the starting point for everybody, correct?
Right.
This is a finish line, wherever that finish line is for everybody, right? The difference is that we started and we didn't stop here.
Right.
We started and we didn't stop here. We started and we didn't stop here. These barriers are friends and family that tell you those things don't work. These barriers are, friends and people that you hold in high esteem telling you it's nothing but a scam or a pyramid. This is no's that people tell you all the time. The difference is that we didn't stop. What Bumblebee used to say, can't stop, won't stop. That's the difference. That's the difference between being a business owner-minded individual and an employee-minded individual. A business owner always stays focused on the finish line and won't quit until they achieve and cross that finish line. But you know what happens? This finish line continues to move out.
Sure do.
That's right.
It doesn't stop right here. It continues to move to infinity. When it stops is when you ain't got no breath in your body.
Mm-hmm.
You're always evolving. You're always becoming something greater, because it's not about the dollar that you're seeking. There's something on the inside of you as an entrepreneur that keeps you moving. There's something on the inside of you that keeps you focused on the end, always evolving, always trying to better yourself. You're your own competition as an entrepreneur. You look to gauge your business based upon other businesses like yours, but it's you that you're competing against. Because there's something driving you on the inside that doesn't allow you just to become idle and stop. That's that entrepreneur spirit. And that's what makes the difference between employee-minded, where you're looking to receive. If you put in 8 hours, you want to get compensated for 8 hours. As an entrepreneur, you put in 40, 60, 80 hours
Mm-hmm.
and may not get anything back. But you're just as happy as that individual that worked 8 hours and got paid for 8 hours or 40-hour work week. Because it's something on the inside that tells you this thing is going to work. This thing is going to work. It's going to pay off in big dividends. See, people look at successful individuals and see the fruit. But they didn't see all the pruning, all the sacrificing, all the sowing, all the hard work that was required in order to receive the fruit. Any successful story in this country has that commonality, that they struggled. People were telling them to quit, laughing at it, ridiculing them, but they kept going. That's the difference between being able to give a testimony and then being a victim-minded individual. 2, be willing to pay the entry fee. Success takes dedicated planning and effort. In a way, it's like building a house. In the beginning, all you have is a rough concept. Then you develop a complete set of plans and you immediately move closer to success. The same is true of creating a better lifestyle or a more successful business. But there's always an entry fee to be paid for success.
Yes, it is.
What is our entry fee? Do you think it's the $149.95? Our entry fee is that you have to have a desire for more out of life. Because the $149.95, in comparison to the power of what this opportunity represents, there's no comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So if you allow $150 to stop you, then to me, because I'm on the other side and I know how real it is, and I understand that some people just have that natural skepticism, doubt, and disbelief, but at the same time, they filling up their jar with all these little pebbles. And I understand that. But truly, you have to have a desire for more out of life. Creating more success in your business may seem less recreational time, may mean less recreational time. Writing your own book may require less TV. Isn't that right, Brother Paul Jones?
Yes,
Always
sir.
2 books. Being closer to your children may require adjusting your work or social activities. You know, I get so much joy, picking up my kids from school 3 days a week. There's Tuesday meeting, Wednesday Bible study. So Monday, Thursday, and Friday, my day to pick the kids up and take my son to karate. Now, he hates going to karate. He hates it. Every day he gets in the truck. Like, can we miss it today? No. This is what we do. And some of that is, me personally, because when I was younger, my father, it was a birthday present, gave me karate lesson that lasted about a month. because he didn't pay the bill after that.
Oh, no.
So some of that's some personal stuff that now I'm in a position to afford my son to complete. So he's paid up to go to become a black belt.
Mhm.
And right now he doesn't understand. But see, I understand because, I have a handsome son and he has a real shy personality that he's going to be tested and challenged.
Yes, he is.
So I want him to be equipped so that when it happens, he can at least protect himself. He doesn't know that now, but I understand. So as his father, I need to guide him and lead him in areas where I see that, you know what, son, I know that you're going to fall into this area over here, this pit. This challenge is going to come in your life. So I want you to be prepared. But what's so funny is that once he gets there, he's cool. I also understand if I left him alone, he would just stay in the room watching TV or playing on the computer all day long. So as parents, we need to guide and lead our children.
Yes.
Isn't that right? I mean, because we understand, because we love them, the pitfalls that they're going to be, presented with. So therefore, it's our job to guide and lead them around those, right?
Okay.
So we need to position ourselves so that we can, rather than say, well, I didn't get it, so you don't need it.
Right.
But that's a broken mindset. See, you always want your children to do better than you,
Right.
not to do at the same level. You want them to exceed you beyond what you did. So I'm a business owner, and it requires a certain mindset in order to run this business, Tony. So therefore, it's about preparing yourself, because if you have a business and you don't know what it takes to achieve it, you'll lose it eventually.
Yes, you will.
That's right.
See, that's what some of those, blockades and barriers come in to do. Like Chow also said, if you got $100 million and you don't know what it takes to create it, you'll soon be broke again. So that's why I celebrate, my obstacles. I learn to rejoice in them. Because, Lord, I thank you for this opportunity. Because I've learned to turn it around, and rather than looking at, oh, why are you putting this on me? Lord, I thank you because I know your word says you'll not put more on me than I'm able to bear. And you created me with a good end in mind. So when I put them together, I say, Lord, this is only coming because you have something greater for me. You get that? You got to redefine your situation. Just like David did with Goliath.
Mhm.
He didn't see a giant. He saw an uncircumcised Philistine.
Mhm.
So he reduced that big old obstacle that seemed like was impossible to go through to something small. That's what you have to learn to do with your situations in life. Because they don't come to destroy you, they come to make you stronger.
Mhm.
So it's the full glass idea. If your lifetime, your time is already full to the top, there is no room for something new. The entry fee is carving out the time to create that something new. 3, focus on your goal every day. I'm sure you probably want to achieve your goal as fast as possible, right? That's why clear mental focus is so very important. Consistent daily focus is absolutely necessary to burn in the new neutron pathways you need to create your new goal. Without daily focus, the old mental habits that have kept you from your goal will continue to take over. I just had a meeting with the guys at my treatment program yesterday. And this is what I was telling them about. Is that you're here, everybody's at a certain level based upon the information that you've been exposed to in your lifetime. Whatever level that is.
Mhm.
So if you want to go to a new plateau in your life, you have to be willing to humble yourself to receive some new information. Because you're going somewhere you've never been.
Mhm.
So how you get there, or how you even know where that is, if you don't get some new information. So therefore, you have to learn how to go to that next level by getting some new instruction from somebody that's been there. So therefore, I tell the guys at the treatment program, if you want a different lifestyle, you have to humble yourself to receive some new instruction so you can get some different results. Other than that, what's the definition of insanity? To continue to do the same thing, expecting different results? This happens automatically since these odd habits replay 24/7 deep in our subconscious mind. The only way to override subconscious anti-success messages is to consistently or consciously focus on what you do want and build new neural networks. That's why success is an everyday event. That's why I encourage you, go on a tour of homes. Don't look at $1 million home and say, I can't see myself living there.
Right.
Don't be intimidated by a luxury car. Understand that you was created in the image and the likeness of God himself. So therefore, you are entitled to whatever desires of your heart are. But the question is, have you dumbed down your desires based upon your current situation? Never allow a temporal situation to define who you are. You have to define who you are based upon your creator.
Mm-hmm.
And your creator, like I said, says that you was made in his likeness and his image. When you really understand and empower that, that's liberating. Because then it opens up unlimited possibilities. So why should I? Who am I? How do I have the audacity to define who I am when I didn't create me? Y'all let that marinate for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
How can you define who you are when you didn't create you? You don't have the right to. So what your job is to tap into your potential so that you can discover who you were created to be. Never put limitations on yourself. Recommit your goal every day. Don't let your goal take a backseat to your daily tasks and distraction. That will take over. Life will try to get in your way. Just get and stay on course every day. Focus on your goal and on success. Number 4, get passionate. You got to get excited about your life.
That's right.
Man, when I take a trip to my future, what pastor say, it's so bright, I got to put sunglasses on. I mean, you just have to get excited, because if you don't get excited about your future, who is?
Mm-hmm.
One of the most powerful tools in your success toolbox is having a real passion for your goal. Like I said, Child Lay, he motivates me.
Mm-hmm.
All that energy and excitement. Everything he talks about relates back to his wife and his newborn son.
That's right.
Because that's what his passion is. That's his why. To the point he's like, man, can you love your wife that much? Man, you teaching me something. Jesus said, love your wife as Christ loved the church, right?
That's right.
Why passion? Because intense passion and desire for your goal will help you burn in those new neural pathways even faster. Many scientific studies have shown that intense emotion, passion, is a key success tool. I'm telling you, when you go and you walk in a beautiful home, and you see the marble, you see the handcrafted woodwork. When you see that beautiful home and you just imagine yourself, walking in and this is my home, throwing your keys on the counter. It begins to become more real to you. And so I used to ride through these neighborhoods all the time. I used to walk through these homes all the time. I know Brother Paul, he goes almost every week. Interlocking and, all of these neighborhoods. Because why? Because we're making that a reality. And so long as you continue to do the work on a daily basis, and this is what you're focused on, you will create it. There's no doubt in it. Because, why? You have the ability. You have the ability to create wealth.
That's right.
You've been empowered to create wealth. So therefore, you're the one in control. So if you're doing the work, you have the goal in mind, there's no way of you being denied what it is you want. The only way you'll be denied is if you put that barricade in front of yourself. We don't have no individuals in here that are into self-mutilation, do we? I mean, we do have a 24-hour crisis hotline part of the service.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all are here because we want success in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, remove all the barriers and excuses and expand your mindset. And another key is, if you didn't have the desire, then it wouldn't be possible for it to become a reality. God wouldn't dangle a carrot in front of you if you didn't have everything within yourself right now already
Mm-hmm.
to make it a reality. All you need to do is have the divine relationships in your life in order for that thing to actually manifest.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're connected. I know it. I'm just trying to get you to know it. Plus, and this is really a big plus, intense passion will also help you rapidly override inappropriate old failure messages stored in your subconscious mind.
Steve.
See, mama may have, papa may have told you that you weren't going to be nothing. Uncle may have, aunt may have, to the point that you believe yourself
Mm-hmm.
that you ain't going to never be nothing or have nothing. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie from the pit of hell. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Cast that thought back to the lake of fire from which it came. Because you were created for greatness. Now, how great of a testimony for you to be able to testify and witness to the greatness of God.
Mm-hmm.
When you come from an environment that has so many adversities that you are facing that seem to be a hopeless situation. The Word of God says He uses the least of them to do the greatest work.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind tells me is that you've been under attack all this time, that there's so much greatness in you that the enemy's been trying to distract you all your life to get you to believe a lie. So therefore, he no longer has to distract you. You begin to distract yourself. It becomes self-inflicted. So I want you to remove those shackles from your mind. I want you to put good thoughts in your mind. I want you to, if you have to go to magazines and cut out, make you a life board of what your life, what you want your life to look like. That's what you do. You come in my office, you see pictures and stuff up. I do that. Why? Because I understand that we have to burn in those new neural pathways into our mind. We have to keep that image always in the front of our mind. Because even though you see me today, people told me negative things. I wasn't raised in the Huxtable environment. My father been in and out of prison, drug user, passed away at an early age. But did I allow that to define who I am? That's why I had to discover the mindset. You know what? We ain't got no children watching, do we? I had to get graphic with it.
That's right.
I'm thankful he didn't pull out or force my mother to have an abortion.
Right.
So therefore, he gave me the opportunity to live. Now the rest is on me. And when you understand it, then you no longer fault people and become a victim. You begin to take ownership and responsibility for the life that you live. Because you take ownership and responsibility because you understand that you have the power. You have the gifts. You have the talents. It's just a matter of you applying them. So therefore, you don't have the limitations based upon the color of your skin or your economic background or because you was born on this side of the track or whatever society tries to tell you. You understand that I had the ability to create wealth. Number 5, take consistent action. In many ways, actually taking action can be the most difficult step. Successful goal achievement is built by taking one small action after another. The word is action. Action. Act, I on. So I'm going to act on what I say that I want out of life. If you commit to take at least one small action each day, your actions will add up and make a difference. So avoid sitting back waiting for that big second when everything will magically just happen. It's not a matter of waiting for the conditions to be perfect. If I get that one individual my business is gonna blow up. I hear and I see so often people put all their trust in one person. Like, ooh, I know so and so gonna blow this business up. You go to so and so, and they turn you down. And because you put such a value on that one individual, and they let you down, then all of a sudden your balloon is deflated. This thing don't work. Well, what if the entry fee? Remember, there's an entry fee to success. What if your entry fee is that you need to go get 10 people, and down the line, you get that one. But you give up because you went to 3 people. Don't put that barrier on yourself. See the finish line and don't stop, period. Don't stop, period. Every day, be talking to people. And it's not something that, should be a tedious task, because we're human beings, so we interact with people every day. It's just a matter of opening up your mouth, hearing what people are saying, and then maybe even sowing a seed in just a car.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the gas station the other day, and I was on my phone pumping gas, and this brother comes up to me, and he got a truck at another pump, and he asked me, can I get a couple of dollars to put some gas in my truck? Now, he didn't need prayer. He didn't need us to go into prayer and say, Lord, please bless this man with gas. God had already blessed me.
Right.
So I went over and I put $5 in his tank and gave him a card and said, if you keep your options open for making more money. And you know what he told me? Man, my brother, man, he's in this coffee thing. So you may see somebody that's down on the luck, but they may be connected to somebody else that can help you grow your business as well. So you always are looking for an opportunity to sow, okay? Because you'll never know when it's going to bring forth that harvest. You can create whatever you want in life. The secret is to determine exactly what you want, then pursue it passionately. But remember, in the end, only action counts. Talk is cheap. You can't just dream about it. You have to be about it. You got to go do it. I tell you, talk is cheap, y'all.
Sure is.
Conversation won't pay your bills. Conversation won't take you on vacations.
Right.
Only action and work will create the flow of currency through your hands that will allow you to, because other than that, you're going to be a thief. You go in there and try to hijack the plane so that you can go on vacation, you're going to prison.
Sure is.
But God has given you the gifts and the talents in order to create it yourself. You have connected with individuals that want to help you to be successful, period. Now, the only thing you need to do is determine what your finish line is, and let's get busy at creating that whoa moment. Windows of opportunity. Recognize your whoa moment. How many have you allowed to pass by, and why? It's funny when people say, oh, that's not for me. What's the response? What you mean what's not for you? Money? Making money not for you? Because that's what we're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. We use our memory and conditioning to see not our vision. I had to read this several times to really grasp the power of that statement. We use our memory and conditioning to see, not our vision. So when people are telling you, I don't want to be involved in one of those things, they're not using vision. They're using memory and conditioning. Maybe somebody else's negative experience in this industry. What they remember, what they was conditioned to think or believe. Because they actually haven't done this business. But because of human nature, they always want to try to relate it to a previous experience without actually experiencing for themselves. See, this may look like, may sound like, because the business model is based upon the direct sale industry. But it's different because of the spirit behind it. So therefore, it's not the same. Because it look like, sound like, don't make it a duck. Now, when using our memory, we don't see what is, but what was. See, we're looking at what is to be. So therefore, people are always trying to look towards the past. We're looking towards the future. And so therefore, realize when you're talking to people that that's where they're coming from. So the question becomes, do you want to live in the future or the past? And if you begin to listen to other folks, then they're pulling you back in the past. I don't know about y'all, but my future is brighter than my past. Leaders lead. Your job is to move your people from fear to freedom and from failure to faith. Lead by example. That's why I said this is from free to freedom. The 149.95 represents freedom. Why is that? Because there's so much money in this compensation plan that people really don't realize how powerful this is. Y'all know I like drawing this, right? You know, it's 3.9 plus 5 customer points. You get to senior director, right? So as you continue to build down here, you're talking anywhere from $5,000 to $26,000 a month, right? Then as senior director, as you build down, now you're talking about the bonus is a lot more, okay? $75 here per person, $50 per individual to unlimited levels. But then you're talking about another $5,000 to $26,000 a month. Only thing we need to do is build this system. Build this system as fast as possible, because this $5,000 to $26,000 can quickly go from $50,000 to $300,000 overnight per month. Why? Would you spend $300 a month to get $50,000 a month?
Of course.
Would you spend $3,000 a month to get $500,000 a month?
Of course.
Exactly. That's the power of the system. Brother Paulie does an awesome job on teaching on the penny to doubles. See, people see pennies and they look down at pennies. But if you took a penny and doubled it for 30 days, that penny now becomes $10 million. Most people can't see that. How can a penny go to 10 million? Compound. Through this system, creates compound interest for you, because it becomes exponential growth. That it's not just based upon your efforts, it's based upon the efforts of other people. Leverage is a powerful thing. Dare to dream. Ask yourself these 6 quick questions. What do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to give? What do I want to have? How do I want to spend my time? And with whom do I want to spend my time with? Because like I said, that young man at the gas station didn't want prayer. A person hungry don't want no conversation. So in order to share what you believe or what it is that you want to do, you got to get some real solutions to people. You know, being a minister of the gospel, I understand that people aren't going to receive what I got to say until I first meet their natural needs. You try to go to a homeless person and talk to them about the gospel. They ain't trying to hear you. You know, they want a burger or something to eat, something to drink, somewhere to live. Then once you begin to meet those natural needs, then they begin to see that you're really about what you say you're about. See, so many believers, you know, want to give conversation, but then when given an opportunity to create wealth so we can do some real ministry, they waiting on the Lord.
All
God ain't no thief. He just ain't gonna magically increase your bank account.
right.
He done gave you the gifts and the talents in order to increase it yourself. Isn't that what his word says? I have given you the power to create wealth. You have it within yourself. I just believe it. But then I apply it. Some people see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? George Bernard Shaw. Look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or would you let it slip by? You know who that was? Eminem. So what is your goal? What is it? Okay, the next individual I want to bring up is someone that needs no introduction. Like I said, you may have an image of where you want your life to be, but then sometimes God will put somebody in your path that will expand on that and build on that. So your finish line is always evolving. And this individual is one that expanded even mine. And I'll tell you, I think outside the atmosphere. So this brother even beyond me. He's out the solar system. So this is somebody that, you know, has such a heart and passion for helping people, and he opens himself up. And most of the information that I've learned about this industry, I've gained from him. And I really appreciate this individual because he has such a genuine heart. I mean, he's transparent. You know, he's very open and honest. And one of the things that really impressed me, like when I first met him, he even put me in his first book to say thank you with a list of other people because he understands the power of relationships. I'll be honest, I wouldn't even thought about it. You know, not because I have a selfish spirit, but I just don't think inclusive like that. Then on top of that, he said, you know what? Whatever I do, I'm going to bring to the people first and let the people know and allow the people to become a part of whatever I do. And I said, you know what? That is a genuine individual that truly loves people because he's not just about himself. Anything he does, I don't care what it is, he always brings it to the people and run it by us to let us know what's going on. So he's not doing things behind closed doors and then all of a sudden spring something on us. When you connect with an individual like that, that you know is going somewhere, that's someone that you can follow. So I trust him, I believe in him, and most importantly, I love him like a brother. Everybody stand to your feet and welcome Brother Paul Jones.
All right.
I'm not gonna be up here long. Lisa, I may start that way all the time. And I'm like, what William talked about and Chow talked about, you know, when you've been a business owner, you know, I've really been a business owner all my life. I've had jobs, and I'd leave the job, but I also had a hustle inside the job. I don't care if I was, you know, working a drive-through at Taco Bell, you know, we were selling mixtapes out the thing before mixtapes was even, you know, so we were always hustling. They knew you want to do music, go to Paulie, you know, so no matter what it is in life, you got to have a certain goal. And some of the stuff that William was going over when he said write down goals, I just tell you, mine is to be a totally debt-free person with extraordinary wealth. And that means debt-free means you're free. So I've been doing a lot of detailed study in the last few weeks. And it's just like, it's so much you learn, and I look at people sometimes and I want to shake them. I'm like, you don't get it. It's a trick. You know, you're being told and taught to not take action and to hold on to something little and to say, well, you need this little because You never know when a rainy day is going to come. But trust me, when a rainy day comes, that little won't be enough. So you must expand your vision, expand where you want to go in life. That means in your daily actions, to even before I even get into it, one of the things that William was talking about in Child, and it was have something in common. And I was writing down as Child was speaking, I was like, I like Child. He always references wife and kids. And that's what actually glued me to William. See, I learned when I was on my first go round working my first company, I would sit, and you don't understand, when you're sitting at someone's coffee table and you're doing the business plan, you're writing down your threes and your circles and whatnot. And then you sit back and say, well, what's your dreams and goals? I'm like, what do you want for your kids? And then I hear them say the most ignorant thing. But them kids can play for college themselves. You know what? I don't even want to work with you. We're going to clash eventually. I do not want my child to get stuck into that. I'm like, don't you get that we advance each generation? We have to advance it. But what I realize is some people are so lazy and so focused on themselves that they will look at their own flesh and blood and say, if it means I have to go to work more, I'm not doing it. It's also something else I've learned. Never team up with people who don't have core values of their own family. That's the telltale. People say, man, how you know to stick with someone through thick and thin or not? I'm like, I watch how they treat their kids. Sometimes you got to have tough discipline with your kids, but I literally watch how they are with their close immediate. Because no matter what, you're still secondary. You know what I mean? They say that blood is thicker than water. If I see somebody do that to their own child, but the child ain't really doing nothing crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. If your child acting out, knock that kid out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying when I see them show that value, then you know that, okay, great, because I'm doing it for my family. You're doing it for your family. We want to leave our children's children a generational wealth. We want to expand everything around us. Then when you team with people like that, everything that y'all do is going to be the benefit to those around you. The other day I'm going to walk in a lunch with a very, very wealthy guy who owns a chain of furniture stores, the whole nine. And, we're talking. And so we walk over to Greenville and we just walking. And I'm a people watcher. You know what I mean? And there's a napkin lying around. And I just watched him bend down and pick it up. He kept talking. And I was like, see, that's the difference right there. Somebody else would have just kept walking, and I did something to keep the neighborhood clean. And you watch that. Then when it comes to paying for the bill, you actually have to almost fight over the bill. And I'm like, you know what? My whole goal is to not tell a person who hasn't had, make them feel bad for not having, but to dive in there and be the coach to say, hey, this is how you get. And we got to understand that there's an adversary out there. Can I go there?
All right.
When you are, and it's happened to me, so I'm speaking from experience. The minute I said, I want a certain kind of car, somebody else said, so is that car makes you better than me?
All right.
Hold on. I want this car, period. I've always wanted a Rolls Royce Phantom. Why are you tripping on me? Because I want a Phantom. Ain't y'all seen Richie Rich, the show Cadbury, and he opened the car, he get out a Phantom. People didn't get it. I got out a bucket. So if I want a Phantom, because I'm like, well, Richie Rich kid, they're like, oh, you're subliminally teaching me that kid and his family can have it, but me and my family can't have it.
All right.
So, okay, you got to build your confidence up then, right? Nobody is better than you, not even myself. I made some different decisions, good and bad, but you have to pick yourself up and keep on going. So, as William said when he started, you are a business owner. See, you want to be in business with people who you can be proud of. So as I sat back and I get a full page of notes and could have got more, I'm just like, these cats is dropping science. So now let's move to value. If you actually value your dream and goal, then when Child spoke on certain things, about the tests that you go through that makes you stronger, that puts you at a certain peace, right? Because you realize that, yeah, when William went over the 5 things that he went over, and you start getting it, now you're eating from that because you're saying, okay, I get it. Why? Because you know that point. So for me, I wanted my daughter off the couch. All of a sudden, you get a phone call one day and life happens. And you instantly have to mature. Do y'all understand me? When all of a sudden, you know things happen in life, whether you're prepared for it or not.
Come on.
Life happens, you instantly have to step up and be a man or a woman and say, you know what? I'm changing everything right now. The minute I said that, a ripple effect went out. It was up to me to keep that going. But if you just see still water and you drop a little pebble up in there, you see them waves. See, right then and there, when I said, I'm changing the course. I'm doing everything different in my life. Right then and there was, I sent the message out to God, and he was like, my son's serious this time. So many of us will say we want to do something. But will God look at you and say, oh, you're serious this time? Because we've all played the game, that's my car, that's my house. You know, oh, that'd be nice to have that. Oh, I'm MJ on the court. But God knows that you're just talking. But it's that point when you had that heart connection and you look at your baby's beautiful brown eyes and you say, you know what? We was in the projects. You ain't gonna be in the projects. You know. But I don't fault my mother when I tell a project story because she was in a shack. You know, she was sharecropping. You know, my mother was born in Corinth, Mississippi in the 40s. So you get me? There is no, the civil rights movement hadn't even began. You understand that? It was white faucet, black faucet. And that's the way life is. Can you imagine that it's normal to sit in the back of the bus? It's normal to play second rate. It's normal to always believe that somebody else is superior for you. That is a mandated normal to everyday society. Then all of a sudden, you move ahead 100 years. And they say, okay, you're free. Go get 3 people. You can make $1 million.
Okay.
And then people want to sit down and have a funny conversation. Oh, I don't know how this stuff works. That's understanding. You don't know how it works. Your ancestors, for most of us, hadn't been taught how to truly create wealth. And then some of us actually get wealth and then we turn our backs. Where I'm the one that say, I ain't turning my back. Come on, I did it. You can do it. You know, I still have battles, fighting one every day. Trust me on that. But you got to understand how to budget yourself. See, when you look at the core principles of our service, you understand this right here. William dropped down in Science of the Business. Did y'all get that? When sometimes people call me, it's like, man, I don't really know what to do with the business. And I'm like, 3 people.
Okay.
I'm like, that's it. Go get your 3 people. They're like, I know it's that, but I'm like, I know. You want me to go ahead and show you like what was in the cake batter that made the cake so good. So I understand that that's really what goes on. But it's a thing called belief. I'm not gonna write it up here. But what you believe, you do. Let's look at it this way. You believed that you would be here today. So you got up and you did everything that it took to get you here. If you didn't believe it, then something else could have stopped you and you just wouldn't have made it. So belief is so simple. But then you got to get to the point where you believe your belief. That might be too deep, y'all. See, I believe in William Lockett. So when I'm dealing with other companies, William Lockett is in my mindset. You get this? I believe in Lorelei and Evan Lay, a skip child. But you understand my point. I understand what's important to him. So when we say, hey, we're building a multi-billion-dollar company, I can't go. See, many of you may see my children as little PJ and Nisha. But no, when I'm at the events, I see Antonio Lockett, I see Trey, I see Jordan, I see y'all's kids, I see Evan, I see the future. I'm like, why? I already know we won't be the ones to really enjoy this the way we want to enjoy it. I see little Newman Thomas and his daughter. You get the difference? I know we won't be able to enjoy it the way. Now, I'm going to enjoy life. But if you go and you look at that Walmart family, it's not just the Waltons. It is several of them, including college roommates and friends who just happen to know the guy and be in the right place to know the guy. So as we're walking around, and I realize that I don't take my words lightly, that we're building $1 billion company. And when I'm out networking with people, I'm picking their brains. I eat every day off somebody. I make a point. Yesterday, I sat down with a pastor, not of a small church mindset either. And I just sit back and I listen. And I'm like, he's listening to me like I'm saying something. I'm like, your church doing really good. I need to know more about how you do what you do. But the whole point is you learn constantly. So 2 years ago, time is flying. I weighed 100 pounds more. I still got a little more to go. But I had to learn how to budget. So one thing I did not know all this time, until I was like 40, 41 years old, that the average intake is 2,000 calories. Okay? Did I get that? So I'm like, okay, 2,000 calories a day. Well, I realized that I never really was counting calories at all. I would have 2,000 calories for breakfast.
All right.
You did? Then I would sit down. And as you start working out, you had to understand how you got obese. You see, and I'll tell you, today was my son's last football game. I'm running up and down that field. I changed in the car and all that. I had other slacks on. I couldn't come with the sweats, no more. But from there is, don't y'all picture that me changing the car either. I know the girls are like, shoot, I should have went outside. But the whole point is, you know what? When he was 2 years old and I would run and play with him and wrestle with him, I had to crawl, this is real talk, over to the wall to get off the ground. So we on the floor playing with my kid, if you can picture. I was so big that to do this was impossible.
All right.
I would have to crawl over to the wall or something else and lean against the wall and help pull myself up. Once I realized I was doing that, I was like, hold on, man, you let yourself go. I was always the brother with the high growth flow. You understand? It's like, but you get comfortable, so I understand it. So next thing you know, you 300 and something heavy pounds, and you go in there and sign up to the gym and you say, okay, you start working out. You start reading on nutrition and you start understanding this, and you're like, 2,000 calories, that's it. So I'm like, okay. But once you get into a habit of it, I realized that it's my budget, but I can increase the budget. See, once I learned how to increase the budget, people say, man, you still ain't good. I'm like, yeah. But I had to go someplace else and I had to work. So therefore, I started wearing these little watches that help me calorie count. You know, I ain't got the little band on right now, but they mark you and say, okay, you done burnt 300 calories doing this little 30-minute exercise. So what I did is I would add 300 more calories. So I was like, okay, this is getting good. I started doing 2 and 3 a day. So I would get up. But most of you were like, man, Paul, you sending out texts early in the morning. Well, I know I'd be on a treadmill at 5 in the morning. See, I had to change the whole way of living. When normally I wouldn't leave the house till 8 in the morning. And then I would go straight to either a big lunch breakfast or, you know, I had to put lunch and breakfast together. So I had that. So then you do something in the afternoon and you burn another 500 calories. But then you start understanding nutrition values. And you're like, okay, I can eat this way. And it's like, you know what? I found that I could eat all day, but now I'm watching the calories. So it's like, instead of going to get the big stuff, you know, those little packages, those little turkey meats where it's like 90 calories on it, I'll go through 10 of them a day. That was 900 calories. Right? I still would have, understand this, another 2,800. I just knew I couldn't go over this. So I got it up to the point where I would start doing workouts for an hour and a half and burn 1,000 calories. So what happened is the weight started falling off. So now here's the beauty of it. I'm talking about leadership. I did that. So I felt good today because my mother-in-law and all that, like, you're running pretty good up that field with those kids. It's like, and then she was like, you really have lost a lot of weight. I'm proud of you. I was like, now she won't never say nothing nice to me. Sometimes you want to call Brother like, man, brother, you know what I'm saying? That's want to like how they messing with me, man. It's like I think they rate you or something. But, you know, but you get to that point, you looking like, yeah. Shoot, don't start that now. Go back in the day on you. Now, but the whole point, let me stay focused now. The whole point is, had I not started that over 2 years ago, maybe almost 2.5 years ago, today watching that 6-year-old run up and down that field wouldn't have been possible. And when they say you want to help coach, I'm like, first thing I was like, where am I going to have to find time to do this? You know, and I'm like, so people don't get it. 5 in the morning, lifetime. Get home, 7 o'clock a.m., packing up everything. Get here, 7:45, set up everything. Call Shelly, make sure they got the thing, how they set up the live thing. I got to go. Boom, off to the football field. You get that? Everybody else, it's last game. They all going to get ice cream and pizza and all that. High five. See y'all. Boom. I'm running back to the car. Get up in here. I'm ready to do it again. See, it's nonstop. But it's like, you know what? When we schedule it, we fit it in because you believe in what you're doing. What happened for the values of the day? My son got to see his dad coach his team. I still get to hear about business because I actually love doing what I do for a living anyway. I love y'all. You know, then from there is I got my workout in. I just feel good. And you know what? I done burnt almost 1,000 calories. And it ain't even 12 o'clock. I can get my eat on the day, child. I increased my budget. Now, most people live off of $2,000 a month. They get in debt though because they don't do the extra workouts to increase the budget to take in more. So therefore, why this comes to be a positive over here by working out, everything is a negative over there. So you're spending more money than you're actually making. And then we get to the end of the month and we say my ends are not meeting. It's like, no, in that 8 to 12-hour day for you working, I always do 14, 16 hours. My wife will contest to that. But in that period, how much work did you do? If you work 9 to 5, what do you do from 6 to 10? You get this. If you're off Saturday and Sunday, what do you do every other Saturday and Sunday to bring something extra in? To eventually raise the bar on this. And here's the beauty of it. It's called lifestyle transformation. Not even realizing it out of habit. Before I went and got a donut, and this is what made me think of it, because Child was going on something and he was talking about working out too. I was looking up how many calories are in a glazed donut before I got one. You see that? It's less than 300. So I was like, okay, great. I had a protein shake this morning, then the Ensure for muscle joint for men over 40 and sexy still. You know, hey girl, I got to keep mine going, right? I drank that, that's 250 calories. Got me a donut, I'm at 550 for the day. I'm like, great. I already burnt 1,000, now I'm can't go. I go to a buffet and still get away with it. I'm not, but you get my point. Likewise, you're working a few hours a day. Let's say you put 1 real hour a day in to your business. So now that's 7 hours, right? Mm-hmm. You get 3 other people to come in. And those 3 other people help you do the same thing, and they put 1 real hour in. So now that's 21 more hours plus that 7. You got 28 hours in. You're still going 9 to 5, right? 28 hours. Now somebody else can go add the 3 more on there. You could have 50 to 60 hours a week working, adding to increase your whole monthly or lifestyle transformation. So when people say that's one of those networking things and one of those pyramid deals, they don't understand how fiscal years and financials are set up. Nobody makes money saying one level.
That's right.
They're out of business instantly. You see it every Tuesday when they show the cash flow report. Everything in business has some kind of compounding point to it. Everything in business. Somewhere, if you have a company, then there's so many employees working in it. They have a certain amount of work that they must do. That is compounding the hours together to increase the possibilities of what can come in. Likewise, for me, I took the same thing. What's the difference? I stuck to it for a period of time. People start this and they'll start seeing results. Then something will happen and they'll stop. So they gain the weight back, or they go back to where they once began. So I'm like, you know what, Brother Child, because I know Child will hold me to it. Man, by the time we take that trip, that cruise we all gonna take to Bahamas, or we gonna go to Miami Beach, you gonna be able to rub on my 6 pack. Yeah, our girls come in and like, you gotta do the laundry, baby. Do the laundry. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm sexy and I know. You know, I work out. Mine may not be as washboarded as he is, because he's ahead of the game. Put my disclaimer out there. But do you realize that once you know the system, I have mastered the system of losing weight. So weight doesn't stress me. I have mastered the system of creating wealth. That doesn't stress me either. I can show people how to do both. I just have a passion in the financial side more. I can speak to y'all about money sun up to sundown because I understand the power of it. See, when you can go and pay for total strangers' kids to go to college, that does give you a sense of peace that most people cannot explain. To be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna never see those hundreds of thousands of dollars they got. Well, you better finish. But to turn away and say, glory be to God. Then you look up later, you be in a situation, sometimes you can say, man, Lord, if I would have done, like, wait a minute, you keep meeting my need. I'm like, all right, I get it. See what I'm saying? He's going to send a brother like you. He's going to send a child like you. What does that mean for you? Never form a pitiful mindset. Always stay keeping a fertile mindset, because you don't want to be unfertile, do you? Why would a person, if you allow yourself to become unfertile, then you don't sow into anything unfertile, correct? There can never be anything lifelike to come out of anything unfertile. So you have to keep yourself in a valuable position to have your own value increase. And when you increase your value, ultimately you increase the people's value around you. So you have to see this. So making money is not hard. The biggest battle of making money is telling a person to follow the directions to make money. The same way as my daughter this morning. I'm sitting there, we drove separate. I'm like, I know you was going to Lifetime too. I'm like, wow, the girl has lost 40 pounds. But I know deep down, I won't say this to her, but I know she only lost 40 pounds because she sat back and watched her dad do it.
Okay.
So, you say you own a business. People are watching you. They're watching your every move. You got to watch your tone on every person, because all they're doing is they're trying to find that reason to say, oh, you don't have to do that, or it doesn't work that way. And God forbid, let it be church folk.
Okay.
You know, it ain't about money. Yes, it is. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'll debate any ministry on that, especially if they were born and raised in the United States of America. They understand Nat Turner and the group. I'm just going to go there for you. Do y'all know when the slave rebellion happened, when Nat Turner, let's go there. So I'm going to shoot y'all on some games so you won't go out saying wrong stuff. I want you to have the knowledge and wisdom. When that happened in 1830, 31, they mandated at that point that an overseer had to be at every private congregation. And it was no longer legal for blacks to be able to read and write. So that meant every message that the so-called pastors taught from that point on were not messages of hope. They were not messages of prosperity. They were not messages of peace. They were not messages of anything of you believing how great you are through our Heavenly Father. There were those messages that said, you know, God gave you a roof over your head. You got to be thankful. God gave you a meal to eat. You got to be thankful. So all these years you can go through, but as long as God puts something on my table, the roof over my head, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, that was a slave owner who wrote that message.
Okay.
So that you'll never think to be just like them. But do y'all know who the richest entity in the world is? Not in the USA, in the world. It's the church. The Vatican, the Catholic Church, the richest entity in the world. Connected, almost probably own the central bank. So someone knows the whole truth and has acted and taught their children's children to act on the whole truth, while somebody else said, no, you only believe this little truth because it's not about growth. It's not about prosperity. It's not about abundance. But you go and actually read with your own two eyes, and it says more than enough, abundantly above all that you can imagine or think. Then it also says you got to work together. So somebody else teaches you, no, you got to just do for yourself. But it says when two or three come together, that's how things happen. So I meet people who just like, oh man, I'm just going to do this. This is it. And that's all. I'm like, oh wow, you got tricked and you fell in for it. The crabs in the bucket pulled you down. You were losing weight. You stopped doing what you were supposed to do. So now you gained the weight back.
That's right.
You got your budget in line. You understand about everything that's a true foundation to a person's growth, which is you got to have your debt right. You got to eliminate your debt or pay it off to get better debt. Because most people have bad debt. There's some such thing as good debt out here. You have to manage your daily budget, just like I have to manage my daily budget of what I calculate in calories. You got to manage that. It's the same thing. Then you have to understand your credit. So what does that mean? You need to leverage yourself. They're going to look at your credit to see the potential of you to pay back. But at the end of the day, they're giving you the best interest rate if you've already done right. Now, do y'all know what happened 2 weeks ago with the interest rates? The lowest in history. In history. I'm like, so you mean to tell me the interest rate is the lowest it's ever been in history? Yes. If you got people out here who aren't tuned in somehow to what's going on, man, it's hard out here. Hard. I'm like, if you know, you better get yourself in position. You better start understanding everything about your credit to get it right now. You need to have some kind of monitoring going on. But it's funny, you see these free score and free credit report commercials all day. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. All of the core values of the My Financial Service is what every home that is moving forward, every progressing home needs. I want people out of the unbanked type situations. I want people out of the rent-a-center type situations. All that means is you're being taxed higher. So a tax that looks like a fee is still a tax. Do y'all get that?
Okay.
So you have to put yourself in a position to have the best tax rules and laws for you to your favor. So technically, everybody should be a business owner. And now, we'll close with this. We do this all the time. $12 $150. What does that mean to y'all?
$150
$150 a year. If you save $12.50 every month for 12 months, you have exactly $150. Now you're out engaging with people, right? If that person is 18 and over and they don't live at home with mama, and they tell you they do not have $150, what did they really just tell you?
They don't want to be.
They told you that their daily budget tracking isn't working. They told you that they don't know how to pay their debt. They told you that they don't understand credit and leveraging themselves. And they definitely told you that they don't understand how to benefit from paying taxes. So therefore, they don't save anything. They consume it all. If you want to create wealth, you have to change from a consuming mindset and get into a producing mindset. Then you have to take the route of least resistance. We have that route. So if I'm saying all I need to do is team with William, team with Chow, and team with Greg, then I'm set. Y'all get this? I'm done. What am I doing then? I'm working with them to tell them you're going to go through the same things I went through. What is that? People are looking at you like, this is work. I'm like, well, have you ever heard of anybody getting laid off from work? Yeah. Did that work? You see common sense? Can we just let common sense rule? It's like, have you ever heard of a person getting laid off from work? Yeah. But what do? They go get right back in that same line. Well, give me another job then. Man, all I had to do was a man to even talk like he wanted to fire me one time, and I quit. Like, what? You talked to the wrong dude, man. I swear to God. You know, you just got to be like, I'm talking straight to God, not you. But no, man, I can't do this. It's like, but then when you step out, you know, you say we come this far by faith, you have to actually be going somewhere. You can't sit there and say, I'm going to lose weight. Take your calories, but don't do anything to increase your intake. All we're really talking about doing is increasing your intake. And then you get people saying, well, I don't want to stretch that hard, working to have this and that. I'm sorry, y'all. I've seen some houses in my lifetime that when I get back home to my house, I feel like I'm in a small shack. I mean, like literally, some people are like, oh, Paul, you live good. I'm like, no, man, you got to get out and see the world. You know, or just go around the corner and look at Mr. Johnson's house. You know, these folks, you know, they're building onto that thing right now. I'm like, I want to be like, dude, you already got me. Okay, you got me, son. Quick. This guy's house is humongous. They got street signs, and like the street lights is what lights up the driveway. Waterfalls everywhere. The kids have a wave pool in their regular at-home swimming pool. Tennis court outside, basketball court outside, Indian side. All of this, it's like, man. And you add it on. Here's the craziest thing. Guess what they own? They live on Credit River Boulevard, too. They own North Glen Collection Agency. They're bill collectors. And I'm like, wow. So here you are, got crews of folks calling folks, breaking them off. And then I'm on the other side of you, and I'm trying to have crews of folks calling folks, telling them why they don't need you and how to fix the problem, not to have to pay him. They fear him more than they fear the solution. Man, can y'all imagine how God feels sometimes? I know how I feel sometimes. I'm like, why are you just letting this happen to you? You knew to go get 3 people. You knew to teach them about how to manage the daily budget and the credit. Oh, but this just happened, this and that. But stuff is always going to happen, guaranteed. Stuff is always going to happen. So therefore, you're dealing with people who can't get $12.50 a month. You got to upgrade yourself. You heard Beyonce. Let me upgrade you. So upgrade yourself. Make things work for you, because time's going to come that you're going to want to go run on the football field with your kid. And then you're going to be able to do it without falling out of breath or something. You know, like literally, I still am catching up to my balancing because I would take off running and fall because like my stomach was so big that I would just fall over. I was unbalanced. You know, real talk. I guess maybe that's how my voice just got good. I started just talking more junk to folks and sitting there and like rest my hand on my stomach. I used to sit there and rest my hand on my stomach, you know, like for real. I just won't hold no more. Don't hold no more. Thank God. You know, y'all want more out of life?
Oh yeah.
If you get anything out of what I'm saying today is value the people you're working with. Like I value William and Child. I value Antonio. Reason why? Because on Tuesday nights, that's what you see, right? See, when you value them the way I value them, you know, that's why I'll be saying, hey, send that thing out and brag about them tonight at the meeting. But you have to be scheduling all your people to go meet them. See, people, JMP Net Worth is just a name, but JMP Net Worth is the people. Do y'all get that? So when they get there, William is JMP Net Worth, Child is JMP Net Worth, Antonio is JMP Net Worth. Do y'all get this? So when you edify them properly, then that says JMP Net Worth is something great. But when you just sit back and say, hey, this is a guy that's in the business too, and you know, because you're too busy trying to hold your pride in with them. Oh, I'm glad I said it. You can't have pride and become a millionaire. I promise you. You're going to have times of needs. You'll have to ask for help. Okay? You'll have to ask for help. I learned that a while ago. It's like, oh man, I need help, but pride is keeping you from asking. Pride is stopping you from getting on the phone, calling and setting that appointment. You get that? You can't have pride and become a millionaire. It doesn't work that way. And then, get this, have confidence, but don't have an ego. Because once you start coming, if you form an ego, that's what destroys it. I've been on both sides of the tracks. You can't have pride, but you must have confidence. And when you get there, don't get an ego, because then the same people that were supporting you, then you're going to smack them. So you got to keep going. And then I'm just saying, the same way I value the fact that I can tell William loves his family, that was all I wanted to be around, is men and women who love their families. That's it. I've met so many people who say they want to do things for their kids, or, you know, give their mom a car or do this and that. And then when they go to quit, I'll say, hey, I thought you wanted to do this and that. Man, yeah, but it's like, I'm like, no, you're never going to do it then. And I don't want to be in business with people who aren't ever going to really do what they say. You know, that's the worst thing. I want my word to be like a contract. You know what I mean? Because I've worked so many years with people, and even some call lately, like, man, how's this? I'm like, you left. You can't come in. That's why I cracked your joke the other day, like, move your knee, lose your seat, for real. Gone. It's like now I'm like, well, I see things different. When we are growing, let me get y'all to understand how business grows. You see the stock chart. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. But most people don't know why it goes down and goes up. You buy low, you sell high. You buy again low, you sell high. That's why it goes up and down. People are buying, they let it get to a certain point, then they sell it and they make their profit. But people who are uneducated, don't know no better, they're like, oh, things ain't going so good. Yeah, so you put more money into it. And then that's what makes it rise. You get that? And when you rise, that's when you can get your cash. But when you pull your budget at low, what do you make it do? Go lower. You put it out of business yourself. So I've learned to only team with people who, when things are low, they're right there with me. Because it's like the word of God say, well, it's easy to tell somebody you love them when they say they love you. But when you don't know if they love you and they show up, then you're like, all right, I guess we're going somewhere. See, I believe with every inch of my body that we will be $1 billion company. So I believe I'm going to sit back and be kicking it on a nice yacht. I don't really want to own a yacht, so we'll lease it or something like that. And I'll be able to see William and Chow and the rest of y'all sitting there kicking it with your kids, because it's just going to be that. I will have a helicopter that will land on that bad boy. You get what I'm saying? See, you got to visualize that. We will go by, and Puffy's yacht will go by and be like, who was that? You get what I'm saying? It's like, why? I'm like, I'll be like, take that. So it's there. But the difference is they'll say these guys went and built a company that today is doing this. Today is feeding this many kids. We're not going outdoors and say, hey, we're on a mission trip. This is my mission trip right here. I've already, without telling folks, was giving money to kids to go to college. Can you imagine what we're going to do when we're $1 billion company? You're a part of that. For the first time in many of your lives, you're part of something way bigger than you've ever been in your life. Most people look at things and say, I'm a part of something great, but you don't even realize how big of a vision you actually are part of. You know, that's why I just speak, and I'm keep speaking. And I'm sorry, when we fly out, tomorrow I got to fly out. I got to get up at 6 in the morning. And I got to go get patted down. I'm like, man, I'm going to get that day when I'm just like, when I really got to be there. And I'm like, all right, my jet will get me there at that time. You get my point? We have something great about all of us. See, I want William to have a conversation with me so I can be like, Will, I need your plane. You know, it's like, because mine's messed up right now. Right? Child, I need your boat. Because mine ain't working right now. I ain't buy one, actually. I ain't going to buy no boat, but I'm going to have a friend who will have one. And I'm like, can I borrow your boat for that week? See, I want a lifestyle. And I'm not going to feel ashamed for saying I want a great lifestyle. Because I understand the curse that got people to stop believing that they could have a great lifestyle. I understand who the richest entity is because they served that same God and believed in that whole God versus a cut down version of what they could be with that God. Stop believing in the God in the box that somebody else said, no, we're afraid that you're going to learn too much and go and do something stupid, like kill somebody. I ain't saying that Turner was right. I'm just saying the results of what he did put oppression over a whole race. And then that even expanded over to others. So people are speaking, oh, it's not about this, it's not about that. I'm like, but they're the biggest entity, period. And it's a God-based entity. I ain't going to get into all the other rights and what's the you know, who's right or wrong and what they believe in that. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying the main point is the foundation is God. You get me? So we got to realize that we got that same foundation. And I believe in the whole God, not just a portion of God. You get this? So that's why I just say, I know we're going to make it. You know, when we down, that's when you fight hard. So when you up, what do? You fight harder. You notice all Super Bowl teams have to show back up to preseason next year. And they have to go back to practice and they got games again. You realize that Steve Jobs is dead, but his company's said they hit $1 trillion. But Bill Gates is still the richest in the world. Do y'all want to know why? Bill Gates had no pride. He's an investor in Apple. Everybody else sitting there playing these little games is like, oh, this company, I'm like, no, I want all of our companies to strive and succeed. And you don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to sow seed over here. I'm going to sow seed over there. Over here, you get it? And then you encourage everyone. You share technology. You share ideas. You share beliefs. And then you say, let's go. The next thing you know, times go on. Like I said, Steve ain't here, but his kids is here. Bill is on his way out, but his children, you know, he got all these children that they adopted will be here. You get the difference? What you want to do? Sit back in your whole life and say, man, I knew about JMG Network. I understood the vision. I know that the core foundation of making people's life better is making sure they can manage their daily budget, getting them out of debt, getting them to understand credit, and understanding the tax laws that always change. You get this? Taxes is forever moving. It always changes. So therefore, you always need to be a part constantly and consistently of something with taxes because it always changes. And the credit game, y'all know that changes all the time too. They tell you, oh, get that, we'll give you this loan. Go out, be the worst loan in the world. Anyway, God bless. See y'all.
Oh. Yeah, I got some more tickets for our Tuesday meetings.
All right, you too.
In the house.
These comments.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Hey, Tony.